false breakout, inside day, sort of reversal from the other breakthrough to the other side. Some quite good detail in this one, I feel. Traded it well, but you know, as we go through it, there's sort of plenty more to improve on. So just want to talk about the technicals first, then I'll show you the execution and then just a couple pointers towards the end. But just go through everything for now. Just sort of the technical front of how I was thinking at this point of view, sort of this day here, like I put here, basically fills out this cave. We test up and then we sort of close back in the middle, quite weak on the day, sort of that late evening sort of reversal that closed. So again, overnight is traded above the inside day that we've got here. Very sort of, you know, tight today, 260k of volume. Day before there was a bit more. So you've got this inside day, and what I start to notice is that sometimes you get the break higher, then you get the reverse back down, and then this area I feel is quite poor. You've got quite a, you know, chunky-ish bottom, if you want to call it. Then there's a chance to look for this low down here. Then you've got this VPOC here. So they're your sort of targets once you start to get below this point. So that's sort of my thought process. I still think you had a chance to go higher. You had sort of these range tops from a previous range above. So I was looking for that move, or you look for this down move, which you get a bit later on in the day. So this is what we had. So you've got sort of quite a lot of hourly lows sitting at this point. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you spent 8 hours in this box. Then you've moved up and you've moved away from the inside day. You can't overnight, couldn't go higher. So again, this is just on an hourly perform. I feel like once you get to this point, you could then play aggressively, you know, back down to here. Yeah, back down to sort of, I don't know. You know, through these, and you've got this area, and then, you know, you can go forever through there. But that's sort of the main middle chunk of what I was mainly looking for. Then I split the profiles up after this all happened. You know, you come down, we tested the VPOC. I quite like this, you know, you've tested the VPOC, you know, holds above, you get some absorption in this area, in this box. Then you get, you know, once you start getting below here, then you can play the break through here and, you know, target these two areas. And then you get sort of that final collapse. So that's sort of what I was feeling. Again, so you did trade higher, a bit higher, and then again you absorbed, trades the high, reverses very sideways, and you sort of get this afternoon, late evening move back down. So what I thought as well was quite key was that we held inside this box, then we tried to go higher again. That's where I managed to get short up here, and then you're looking for that move back down. So you still failed to get above. Sort of creates some type of more positioning, because you're getting people trying to get long, and then that obviously fails. So what you got up here, you spent some time up in this little area, which is where this delta starts to come off. And I position it up here, and I tried to sell passively on the way down. I left my sort of offers but we never really got that type of pullback. Got a bit of churn in this area, and then you broke the low, you held it, and then you got the next move down. So I got a little bit, I think, chopped up in this area, trying to sell more, because I only sold one here, and then I was trying to sell passively like ones on the way on the pullback. And then I felt like you can be aggressive, sort of, I think it was through there. Sort of aggressive once you come through here, you hold the lows, and then, you know, you collapse. Again, you got that delta, try to buy in these areas, and then you sort of still get the delta sort of that continues. So this is what I should have mainly been looking at the whole time I was in this trade, understanding this. You know, you've got rid of all this choppiness, you're straight lining through it. You've got all the boxes being ticked to keep yourself in. Even sort of from a candlestick perspective, you've got this little box, you straight line through it, you absorb at the low, buyers try to hold, you've got this little poor low area, and then you get that, you know, that 15, 20 minutes of downside movement. So just all these different things that come into play. The final bit is 2 large bits of delta that collapse, and then nice and simple delta as we come off more consistently. So this is sort of the area that I normally get shaken out of, that real big time spent sideways. So you spend nearly an hour in this sort of zone, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, yeah. 50 minutes before we drop. So they're the times I usually take quite painful, sort of getting short in here. Coming out, that's probably your next entry to play the break of that, which is what I tell myself most of the time, and I didn't. Try to get passive in this little bit here, didn't work. And then I'm trying to get on the way back down passively if we do pull back. So then this is a 5 or 15 minute chart, I believe, of what we have. So again, this little box, you can see all the multiple lows at the bottom. Again, you hold sort of in the middle, that sort of VPOC area of there. Tight little range and absorption at the top. And again, you just get sort of, it's just another sort of time frame sort of play, or different ways you can look at it by zooming in, zooming out, and you get that little collapse down. So this is what the footprint looked like, which I think was pretty key. So you had this up move, and you had this 228 of delta in that rotation, which I don't think is very strong. You want to see sort of in the thousands at least. Then this rotation next was minus 400, and then this one here is the key one of minus 1300. Then you get the continuation after that as well. So that's what you're looking for, is this little 1300 in this little box. You can then be passive, sell as high as you would like. A lot of volume as well. I think there was, as I've covered that over, there must be at least 24,000 in there. I think that must be. So you get a lot of volume done. As soon as you break out of this box, you get that little low volume. Hold it, and then we start to come off. So that's where I should have been more looking to be on the passive side as we come out, or be passive. You can probably be aggressive in this zone, and then as we come off, you're leaning on everything else and just trusting your idea and your plan. And then as we're coming off later on in the day, you've got this point here, just a little bit areas of some absorption. You've left this little low volume cave, and this is the bit, again, I sort of get rid of most of it before you then get that sort of final flush down, and you're sort of in this sort of range. Just need to be more sensible with this, and then just, understand what's going on. Once you start, then you sort of know you're right once you're through this low volume. I think it was once you're through the 14s, I think it was. As I'll explain, you know you're right. Or you could even be up there. So I think I mainly commit most of mine, because the 2 lows I believe were 24 to 14s was the area which I got most of my aggressiveness in. But you had so many more opportunities higher. We left some low volume at some point, as you'll see on the execution, which we do hold, and then we go again. So again, this little box holds and then continues further down. Obviously the delta, and that's coming off the buying bits that aren't really doing you many favours. So that's it from that front. Quickly show you the execution of this. I just want to show you sort of from this point. So I got short, as I quickly drag that out of the way. I'll go back to the chart and I'll explain what was my... So my entry was in this box. I think I got short 04s, I believe. Then I was about, well, I was 50 ticks on side with just the one lot, and then it was in this area I started to try and work the rest of it. And then the aggressive point from here, and sort of these 2 lines were the point where I felt like you could be more aggressive and then take that move down. And obviously we didn't reach the targets that we wanted in the end. That's how I do. So we're sort of coming into the zone, I think, of about this area, I think it is. 30, no. So that's the 45. So we've got through here. So we're sort of, yeah, sort of in this area. I just want to show you this sort of like 10 minutes of that sort of flush down, which I think is more of the important execution than the rest. So I'll go through it. You've got 12s, 24s, and the 14s are the key areas that I'm looking at. So I'm on side here. I'm trying to think about how I manage the position and sort of the understanding of what's going on and try and play those rotations that we had that are quite tight. Another thing to look at is, S&P as well here. Just keep an eye on that because I'm leaning on that as well at the same time. So the S&P here, and I feel like as that's coming off as well, you've got stocks there. As they're coming off, you've got that, you know, that more conviction, that more to lean on. You know, the oil is coming off, Delta's going in your favour. These two lows are the key points. So I feel like you can still be aggressive into these. Just that reminder of it has been rotational in this area. As soon as these buyers give up, you've got that offer to come in. But maybe I think what I was thinking at this time, I was being a bit too conservative and a bit too passive with it. I wasn't aggressive enough, which I should have been. Because at this point in time, I've basically been on side from 04s. I'm 70 ticks on side with a one lot at this point, where I could be much higher up, leaning on that type of execution, which is something that, again, I'm in this quiet period, I've been learning and understanding, and then being aggressive like I am in this scenario just isn't working at the moment across all markets, really. So again, it's sort of these selling lows types, which isn't ideal because you're just getting these little rotations back up. So that's where I've dragged my average price pretty much 70 ticks in the end, which is quite frustrating. And I'm trying to be a bit, I don't know if I was trying to be clever by getting out of these smaller bits, which to me is just pointless. Just need to wait for that right momentum between here and here, then to be short and understanding. You know, now you're sort of getting this sort of more rotations down, just understanding. As soon as you start trading down here, I felt like that's going to be your main point in time. Now this is the area, like I was saying, I get when it's churning, I'm not doing too great on. You got S&P coming off again at its low, so it adds you more to the conviction of this. And I feel like these two lows will be your key points. The fact we've gone through it again and we've bounced, come back again, you should sort of feel that momentum, that more understanding of then, okay, here we go. Once you're through here, you know, this is the point. See, now again, how I've executed on the way down, I always think was really poor. Because I don't usually go with that. I usually play the break. I'm trying to preempt this move like quite high, where I should be able to work the position in before then you're on side quite much more from high. Then you've got a better area to commit the rest of your size when you feel like it's right. So I'm not really doing the hard work. I'm sort of trying to, again, time everything to perfection, which just doesn't always work. When you're selling lows, you've got to time things to perfection. And again, you just want the price action to be right. As you can see, this area here is just holding. Until you then you start trading through here, you've got these two lows then to attack. Especially when this S&P comes off quite heavily. Again, you're just absorbing these sort of like 28s, 29s. So again, then I sold two more into the lows here after that little offer. You think like, okay, now here's the sort of the move. Trying to sell more again, so I've got up to 12 there. So this is the point where I think I didn't get anything more on at this point. Now I'm looking for this 24s to now break. You're sort of holding. See what I mean? Now S&P's going, that's going to build your conviction. You've got this now 100 lots here. So as soon as you're taking this offered, this should then just roll over. And again, this is what I do. I try to be clever, but I'm trying to work my position out. But what then I should be doing is, once this rolls over, I should then be hitting everything through here. So once that 24s goes, and it takes 23s, I should be clipping big now. So I should be selling the 22s, 21s. Now this is the next 100. So I shouldn't have really got out of anything here, because now you take, pretty much going to take that offered, you know, the 100 there again. So as soon as the sellers are willing to sell, like aggressively, not aggressively, but there's more of a momentum move. You know, now you've got the last low at these 14s. As soon as the 14s goes, you know, I've got 8 on still. You know, as soon as that goes, as soon as those 14s go, even like selling aggressive into the 14s, now cover to 7s. You know, I don't need to be getting out of anything. You know, there's nothing telling me to get out. And then you get this little spike down. Unlucky I don't get filled at the double O's. But now you're really right. You know, you're 20, 30 ticks on side. You're a point on side from when I originally sold. You know, now you get this momentum move down. You're just willing to scale out towards those areas I'm looking for. So now your sort of protection is in this zone. You know, you don't really want to see it go above the 07s, back to 14s. You don't want to see that now. So now you're really right. You can be committing in between those 24s to 14s, and you get the S&P and the Eurostoxx coming off. So you've got that correlation in play. And now this is sort of the churn part again, where they did all that volume like I was showing. So then you're looking for the churn in between this zone, then break again, and then just keep flushing down like we did. So you're just leaning on everything in play, you know. You're just leaning on everything in play, just letting it go. And I've got down to 4. Which I don't mind, you know, like, it's okay, but I only had 8 lots on when I should be really trying to push that a bit more and just trusting my own plan and my own idea a bit more, because you make so much difference if you put in the double extra size on as well. And it's just, this is just me watching the ladder so much, whereas I could just be I should be looking about how to keep myself in the trade. Because that was the bit just below the of the lows. So now I'm down to 3. So I've gone from 12 to 3, and I got out of 4 of them before the lows really broke. So again, it's all that time into perfection is what I need to sort of remove, if that makes sense. Which, when I'm now trading these markets like Eurostoxx and Bund, you're trying to be a bit more passive, where I'm trying to then when oil and gold gets better again, to increment that into that and understand how to play those sort of rotations a bit more. Because trading Eurostoxx quite well, the lead and trying to put that practice into this market, where I've put the oil practice into the stocks market. So then trying to put these both together and that more understanding of. Again, I'm holding like 3 lots a bit longer because I'm trying to force myself, but I should then be committing more and not being worried about those little 5-tick pullbacks when they go again, and, you know, getting out of more. So again, this is just really coming off. You know, you got everything in line still, so I shouldn't really have been getting out of anything. Obviously, it doesn't reach my targets in the end. But when you can be 40 ticks on side with like full size or something, you can always cover something. You can always learn to cover, having that understanding of, okay, it doesn't always work, but you can cover half for like 40 ticks or something. You know, it's going to always give you a good amount of P&L when you're on side of, you know, your full size, etc. You know, maybe it's the fact of being even more greedy, because I should be making much more on this trade at this point. Again, I'm just trying to hold the 2 now to the rest of the sort of the targets. You know, everything is still in line. You got S&P, stocks, you know, all good. You know, you're just sort of getting this little bit of churn here once you want to get through there. Again, it's all these little things that I look at, and I put my stops in. So basically now I've got down to 1. I'll leave it at that, because I end up letting it come all the way back to me in the end. But it's sort of, I'll just talk through these bits quick. It's these sort of areas where much higher I could get involved in, sort of up here on the 70s, I think it is, you know, this is the area we chopped about and then we broke. That area I could probably, can I work something in higher below this area, can I do that? Just being that more passive entry like. And then this is the area you break to the 24s, we tick it, bounce back, can I look to enter in this area? You know, can I watch the price action? You know, the more size you have up higher, the more passive you will be, and you're on side, then you're not going to actually ruin your average price too much. You're just going to then let it trickle down, then you can be aggressive and then double it in, you know, like I say, in between the 24s and here, you're fine. You know, say you got 10 lots at short, ended up bringing a price down to say 40s, and for 10, you double your position, say at 20s, your average price is then 30s. If you're selling in this zone, you're not putting yourself under too much pressure, because you wouldn't have. Then you've got this little low volume and it like continues. So they're the sort of things that I need to improve on much more. There's normal sort of improvements, the sort of the less panic when I had the trade on. No need to exit so aggressive like I did, which is the normal. I need to just be okay. I held the size okay, then I got out. Just ones or ones is just pointless. Being 50 ticks on side with a one lot, should have done much better by working in my position better, like I say. I did leave offers, but nothing, it just didn't come back to me. You could see on the Renko, just carried on ticking over. A bit more passive, then you have more, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you have more time to commit to the trade and get your big size on. You can like clip one big clip, you can just work it a bit nicer. Leaning on my tools, again, just not the price ladder, just letting the trade go, because the trade doesn't go 100 ticks in 1 minute. It takes its time. You just need to accept that it's going to do that. Having more confidence to add in your position more in a preemptive way with more size. So it's the same thing as like here, just preemptive, being more preemptive with the trade and understanding of, you know, how it's forming and everything, and having that higher conviction earlier that the trade is really on, instead of selling one like I did, say here, going on side. There's your key levels, say, like I did, then I did this, got chopped up in here, because then you sell there, then your average price goes from up here to here, here to there, you sell more, jumps again, sell more, jumps again. So then you're getting chopped up in that, then it goes, and then you're being aggressive in your right areas where you could be more passive higher. So you drag your average price from up there to down here. When if you're trying to sell in these bits, your average price stays up higher, and then it only does the smaller jumps. And then you can commit in this area. You commit here, half your size on, say 10 there. Then you commit, your average price jumps, and then it goes like that. So they're the sort of things I'm trying to think of and how I want to do that now. Just different ways. You can only keep learning all the time by the way you want to execute.